Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to NDB Media's Sunday night review
Whatever.
here on Trekking Across the Universe. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Of course, I'm the first one that goes. I'm Roger Noriega. Thank you for joining me. And if we go around the horn, we'll introduce everyone, and we'll get to this. We're interviewing Star Wars Andor Season 2. Go ahead.
Me. Okay.
Yes.
Michael Day. I'm here having a good time. I'm so glad we could do this. We were supposed to have some other co-hosts, but they got pulled into making movies. So it's like rude of them. That's all I can say. On May the 4th, and we're reviewing Andor, and they had to go make a movie. It's like, it's just not right. That's all I can say. I'm done for the night now.
Well, I'll be a gentleman and let Karen go next. Gotta do the ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen from Sci-Fi Vision, and I'm happy to sit in and pinch hit for your co-hosts tonight again, who couldn't make it.
Awesome. And I'm Tyler Herwig, and I sing songs. So that's why I'm here.
Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit.
Just slightly.
Everyone's
Well, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption there, but it's good. We'll just get through it real quick. We have 3 episodes to go over tonight. These dropped, I believe, at 9 p.m. Pacific time or midnight on Tuesday or midnight Wednesday morning. I don't know how you want to consider that. I guess it would be Wednesday morning, but it's all good. All 3 episodes were written by Bo Willimon. For those of you that are fans or know of him, he wrote on the Netflix series that really put Netflix on the map back in 2012. Does anyone recall what that series was? House of Cards. But anyway, he was I believe, the producer and executive producer on that program, and now he's writing some stuff here, which is really cool. Also directed by Ariel Kleinman, and of course, it was created by Tony Gilroy, but based on Star Wars of George Lucas. So we may have lost Karen for a moment, and hopefully she's able to join us right now. But we're going to get to it. Ever been to Gorman? Had a runtime of 56 minutes on the Disney Plus network. Hey, let's get to it. Tyler, get us going.
Oh gosh, I really liked all 3 of these episodes more than I did the first set that we got. As I like to say, Disney subverted my expectations, which is a good thing. Just diving in, I thought the political intrigue in that was fun to watch, and they pulled off the time skip better than I was hoping, or better than I was expecting them to. I kind of thought it was something they were gonna fumble, but I think they were able to tie together a lot of information with just a few short scenes that made it all feel very fluid. So overall, I'm very happy with what we got. What did you guys think?
Michael?
I totally agree with Tyler. I really enjoyed these second group of 3. That's all I'm going to say right now until we get into the nitty gritty. So,
I've seen the episodes, the second, I guess, year BB3 or BBY3. I've seen it 3 times now, and I'm trying to find something in here. And I do appreciate watching the program. I would say it is an improvement. How much so, though? I agree with Tyler and I agree with Michael that there was an improvement. I did appreciate the intrigue in the last episode. What a festive evening, knowing all the stuff that was going on simultaneously. I figure it was all simultaneous. It was well done. I have to tell you that I'm now expecting more and more characters to die off because I believe, yes. As a matter of fact, I think we see that already where Luthen tells Andor, well, what, would you rather work, or Andor tells him, what, would you rather I work alone? Something along those lines. And I think that portends something that's going to be happening. What I didn't like is at the very end, in the last episode, all of a sudden, Bix is ready to go. They have her struggling in all 3 episodes, and I get it. I'm not smart enough to to rate it as to how good it is or not, even though we are doing this program. But I just thought it came out of nowhere. And don't get me wrong, I know Bix is a strong character, and I love seeing her do that. But it felt like it came out of nowhere. For lack of a better word, she was taking Dramamine, or I don't know what it was, throughout 2 episodes and a half, and then all of a sudden she's able to take revenge. At first, I'm like, well, how did they find out? How did they even find out? But of course, the lieutenant, when he tells his buddy that was supporting Dedra, said, hey, you know what? Why don't you tell me about the report? I'm going to go ahead and get word out. I missed that the very first time. So I'm like, okay, fine. But who did he tell and when? I just didn't see that connection anywhere. It came out of nowhere. Did I appreciate seeing Bix take out the doctor? Oh, come on. For the love of all that is holy in the Force. Yes. But logically, I didn't see it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I did enjoy these episodes. They were much better than the first. There was more value. And there's a lot more, which I'll get to in a bit, but I've already spoken quite a bit. Karen, we're giving our first thoughts on the first episode, Ever Been to Gorman, but we're doing all 3. So go ahead.
Thanks, Roger. Sorry about that little internet fail there I had.
Sorry.
I'm in Jersey this week, and the internet here is terrible.
Remember that, Roger.
I will remember that, yes. About a week from now.
When I'm at home, the internet, I thought these were pretty slow. I thought I didn't like these 3 better than the first chapter. I thought it was pretty slow, and we didn't even get a really good action sequence out of these 3, which I kept waiting for and hoping for, at least. In fact, I texted someone in the middle, and I said, when is something going to happen? So I missed Mon. Like, we didn't get any real good Mon Mothma out of this chunk. So I missed her a lot.
She was going to too many parties.
I know. She went to too many parties. And we didn't really see, I was trying to see what this chapter was about. We saw Vel lost
Cinta.
The companion, Cinta. She lost Cinta, and we seem to be losing Bix. Maybe she's unable to recover from what happened to her. And I was trying to see, is there a theme here about who you're leaving behind? But that didn't really come together for me. I wasn't a fan of these 3. I was kind of bored all through it. Sorry, Star Wars fans.
Hey, we're straight up, folks. Everyone and anyone in the chat room, if you have any comments on Star Wars Andor, by all means, please go ahead and give us your comments. Michael, what are some of the things that you thought worked in these 3 as opposed to maybe, or what worked for you in these 3?
Well, one thing I didn't like too is just what Karen said. Not much of Mon, but she was going to these parties and they just kind of glanced over this, and but I'm trying to think. I'm starting to get them all mixed up of what first 3 and the next 3, and that is typical with me. But where was the one that they had to get rid of the listening device?
That was the last. It was at the very end of the second, or at very end of episode 5.
Okay.
And then it went into episode 6 where they actually did.
Now that was interesting to me. I just went, man, they really put that listening device in there good, because they could not get it out. So that kind of got me, and it was like I was going, when is this going to get fixed? And it took a while, and they got a little stressed, I would say. So I enjoyed that part for whatever strange reason, I don't know. But
I have to tell you that I did appreciate. Here we go. Arc 54 is in. Karen, at least you didn't have my computer failure like I did this morning. My schedule got rescheduled again this week, so I'll just say hi. Well, sorry about that, Karen. But again, go ahead and comment in the chat room if you would.
I'll pinch it for Arc any day.
Tyler, what worked for you maybe in these 3 episodes?
Yeah, I think one of the the biggest things that I complained about last week was during like the essay scene in episode 3, where I was like, you could have inferred what was happening. That feels more traditional Star Wars to me. And I like how they had kind of some romantic scenes throughout this next set of 3 episodes, and then they would just like cut to a black screen, right? They kind of inferred what was going to happen. So there were some small moments like that made me feel like this is closer to George Lucas style Star Wars, but it was still adult. No, it's Star Wars for adults, not like adult Star Wars, if you catch my drift.
Yes,
And that's something that I'm really starting to appreciate, where with the Star Wars show that shall not be named, they tried to make it like adult Star Wars, not Star Wars for adults. And here I'm feeling like we're getting Star Wars for adults, and it's kind of like the series has grown up as many of the members of the fan base have grown up as well. And I like how we're kind of getting bits and pieces of Star Wars from these different perspectives, and Disney's giving that. And that's one of the best compliments I think I can give Disney right now, because I've been generally pretty frustrated with how they've handled their acquisition of Star Wars, but I'm really enjoying what I'm getting so far out of Andor.
If I may follow up with that, Tyler. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I thought someone was trying to jump in. The scene where Cinta and Val had in the 3rd episode, where it was just the 2 of them, being that this was Star Wars Star Wars adult stuff, I accepted that relationship as being real. It was good. I had no problem with that. And I know a lot of people do. Doesn't bug me. We already have. It was established in the season 1. I forget who tells Andor. He says, "Oh, and don't even think about it, dude. She shares her blanket with someone else." And, it's kind of inferred what it was, and that was it. Here we see the real relationship, which was teased throughout the entire series, and it felt real, and it felt too bad, though, that it was like, I should have seen it. It's like they have a moment, and then bam,
Gone.
Yeah, I thought the loss. I was stunned when Cinta was shot, and the way they did it. It was actually well done. I just didn't see one. I didn't want to see Cinta go. I did.
Yeah.
I actually did like that character. Karen, I asked a moment ago, what are some of the things that worked for you in the 3 episodes, if at all, anything?
Well, now that you mention it, I agree with you that Cinta and Vel have always worked for me, going back to season 1, and that loss felt earned and necessary to the story. That to me was not a gratuitous. I hate to lose her also, but it was earned and it felt right. Mon and her husband really work for me, and that feels like a real relationship too. It doesn't feel like it feels like a political marriage, maybe an arranged marriage, but it feels like 2 people who've been together for a long time and have figured out how this partnership works. And I really buy them and believe them when they're on screen together also. And I kind of like the way he seems to have evolved a little. He seemed at a time to enjoy all the trappings of political life. And in this episode, he's so over it. He's like, oh my God, we have to go to all these political parties and I hate all these people. And he has sort of, I think, in the few minutes we see of him, maybe matured a little bit alongside her. He's not going to become a rebel. I'm not saying that. I buy those 2 together when they're on screen. And I do would like to always see more. Yeah.
I apologize, Karen. I didn't mean to cut you off. Karen, I also wanted to go back to, in that final episode, what a festive evening when Cinta is carrying the body in the transport, and the young man, I don't know what his name was, he's crying, and she just lights him up like no other. She says, look at me. And this isn't everything she said. You have no place to hide now. This is on you now. This is like skin. It's going to go with you everywhere. And what are you? Simpering and crying. She was a warrior. Bloodied, fearless warrior. And to die like this because of you, oh my God, Tyler, Michael, does it get any rawer than that? I mean, I felt it, and it was real. Obviously, the relationship she had with Vel, that she had with Cinta, but oh my God, it felt real, just like Karen said.
No, I totally agree. But it was like I just went. Well, I will say this. I said, I thought, could she say anything more to make him feel worse? Because she was right. I mean, everything she said was right. He disobeyed an order, and she told him how many times you must obey my orders. Do not take a gun. I think she only said that once, but he disobeyed all of her orders, and those are the consequences. So
don't talk, don't think,
yeah,
do as you're told.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you can't, get out of here.
So he didn't follow any of those things.
He did not.
None.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Fair enough. But I mean, they shouldn't have been involved with these people. They're an immature group of an immature cell, right? They've never done anything before. They don't know what they're doing. They're overly. I mean, it's a great speech. It's a trailer-worthy moment, but it was an error from the jump, and they're playing into the Empire's hands. And Vel and Cinta, maybe if Vel wasn't with Cinta, if she was with someone else on that mission, would she have pulled the plug earlier? They kind of, you could see that these people were not prepared to be on a mission. And Vel and Cinta should have seen it, right? So Cassian said it, and they don't listen to him. He said, right?
No, we should not do this. And he got outvoted, and yeah. No, they weren't ready. They weren't ready.
Okay, this is where we start getting thinking. This is where it gets good, guys, because remember, I think it's Krayla, right? And Luthen, I think that's her name. They're arguing over all the information they're getting in, and even Luthen admits, we're drowning.
Yeah.
We're drowning. And every time he talks to Andor, it's hostile. And he's telling him, you have to think like a leader, not a soldier. And a leader is. And Andor doesn't understand what Luthen is trying to do. Luthen is trying to start a spark over there, a spark over here, and a spark over there. And Andor doesn't see that. I believe Andor was correct in his evaluation of them, but he's not thinking the way Luthen, and Luthen is not sharing that with him. I don't know if it's overt, if I'm missing it, but tell me, Karen, Tyler, Michael, has he told him that? Dude, we have to start it everywhere, not just in one little place.
I don't think so. I don't think he has. Not to Andor. I think he has to other people, but
he said that
I don't remember it. I don't know. Maybe Tyler or Karen remembers something, but
yeah, I think he said that a little bit more directly to Mon, but not.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Karen.
He did, or we haven't seen it, but he has in the last year sent Bix and Cassian on missions, nonstop missions all over the place. Like, I don't think they're just going to missions down the street. They're going all over the galaxy, right? I think maybe they have learned that off screen. And it certainly is the basis of the young guy who wrote the manifesto, who was killed in season 1. I mean, his manifesto says, like, there are rebels all over. We have battalions all over the universe, all over the galaxy. They're just not. They don't even know they're in the army yet. I think Cassian understands that. I think the difference is that, I mean, Cassian's not a leader yet, or, okay, he never will be because we know he gets blown up in the movie. But I think he disagrees with a leader who's willing to sacrifice. Luthen's willing to sacrifice 100% of the troops to get the spark going. And Cassian, I think, just doesn't believe in that. Cassian would be a different kind of leader who wants to, like, preserve the lives of his soldiers, maybe. Or maybe, I mean, he thinks he is a soldier. He wants to preserve his fellow soldiers, right? He just doesn't believe in, like, hanging everyone out. I think he maybe has never, I don't know if he can ever really, ever since Luthen hung Cregan's people out to dry last season, and got them all killed, right? He knew they were going to an ambush. He didn't tell them. And Cassian was horrified. And I don't know if he can ever really like that. I think that's always in the back of his mind dealing with Luthen. Then Luthen will like Cassian now is like, okay, so obviously you're willing to kill me if I get into trouble. Like, will Luthen ever have his back if he gets into trouble? He just lets everyone die in order to like get emotions going.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin Davis, for joining us. Lucasfilm will get Emmy nominations for Andor Season 2. We'll win some technical awards. Wow. Okay. That's I'd call it brash only because we haven't seen the last 2 batches, but yeah, some of the stuff they're doing is really good, especially on set production, the special effects. They have callbacks to other sounds, which I don't know if you guys caught it, but I'm way off base now on this, but remember when Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back, he lights up the Millennium Falcon, and then you hear that cycling sound where it shuts down, and then he hits it again? Well, they used that sound when the carrier was attacked. Did you guys catch that?
Oh, I missed that.
When the carrier broke down as they were, as the rebels were launching their assault. And I appreciate that some of the sounds of the universe come back. And I just wanted to go over that one real quick. I'm not sure if you guys caught some other moments like that. I thought it was interesting where Bix had her,
You mean
her
like
drug? It was up on top. Did you notice that? Kind of like where Andor hides his stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a consistency to these characters, very subtle, but it's there. I appreciate the way Andor tore into these rebels or these insurgents, whatever, saying, hey, I could be a friend, I could be an enemy, I could be ISB, I could be, you guys have to be better. And they failed every test he offered them. And he told Luthen, these guys aren't ready. Okay, thanks, Andor. Got something else for you to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he had his own agenda of doing the sparks. So.
Yeah. I think I said it was very satisfying seeing what Bix did to the Doctor. I did appreciate the inner office rivalries between the ISB and the Navy. I thought that was kind of funny. That's kind of real. Where is it Major Pendergast? Is that his name?
Yes.
Thank you, Tyler. He says, hey, look, I want both of you guys to head up this operation. I want you to be my eyes because our friends in the Navy are most incompetent. And I have to know what's going on with them. I thought that was so cool. It felt so real. And even though I am a municipal employee, well, I was for some time, I was actually sent on a few jobs like that. Dude, go to this meeting. I need you to pay attention and just tell me what's going on. It's really funny how the agencies work. But Karen, how did you think they handled Bix this time around? And you muted yourself. You're muted.
I thought I unmuted myself. So I was frustrated I do believe that Bix will never recover from the torture she experienced, right? It was like, I mean, it's like an experimental and new kind of torture that dreamed up, and it was horrifying, and she'll never, I mean, I think really that's what she keeps dreaming about, this doctor who tortured her. I think she'll never recover. And I don't think the doctor, I don't think this bit of revenge is gonna like undo. I'd be really disappointed if she's cured of her trauma next week. I don't think that killing the guy is really the cure that she needs. I don't think there is a cure, and I'll be really disappointed if she bounces back based on having killed someone. And I don't really think that's necessarily a Star Wars-y kind of message, that like killing your torturer resolves trauma. I think that like Star Wars has more to say about light and dark. And we saw also in this episode when Cinta's killed and Bella's kind of giving this lecture about this will stick with you, killing, causing a death sticks with you. It's a little bit different. His was an accident. Bex has killed this guy on purpose, but I'm hoping that they can handle this with a little more nuance and that she won't just be back to her old self now that she's killed the guy. I think she'll die. I mean, I think Cassian has to lose her as part of his evolution to become the guy in Rogue One, right? And Vel losing Cinta, I think, foreshadows maybe Bix's imminent death. We'll see.
Interesting theory.
Tyler, Saul Guerrera in that episode. Wow. In episode 5, right? I have friends everywhere. Dude, this is Saul Guerrera. I mean, the actor played him. Oh my goodness. What does he say? Yes, I am crazy. Only those that are crazy are willing to do this. How impressive was that? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm really liking how they're developing Saul as well, because he only got just a little bit of time in the light, really, with Rogue One, and to see them give all this backstory for other characters like Andor, I like how they're incorporating Saul as well, and I like how they're showing these different facets of the rebellion and kind of backpedaling a little bit. They're really showing how it is so disjointed. So I'm hoping that in the next few episodes we really start to see Mon Mothma kind of take over as the leader, the public face of the rebellion, and put together this more coordinated effort against the Empire. I think that'll be cool, and I think that's how Disney can tie kind of everything together. But it'll be interesting to see how that conflict because we know that there's going to be more conflict with Saul, right? And so I'm curious to see how they direct that going forward, as he's truly out of his mind.
I find it interesting that if you looked at this and you hadn't seen Rogue One, you would go, in my opinion, how in the world did they accomplish everything? In episode 4 too, let alone Rogue One, this is how it's all going. A year or two before so it's very interesting that you are seeing how it develops, what they have to do to make it happen. So I think it's going to be interesting, I think, the next 2 sets.
I agree with Tyler. It was great to see Saul, right? And to understand why he's so crazy and his trauma. Like, we learned that he was in a prison camp from the time he was really a child, and the torture or the hardship and the things that he's gone through. Boy, a lot of people have a lot of really harsh trauma that's led them to where they are. And it's stuff that the Empire has inflicted on them over years and decades, right? Like, it's really all the Empire has made these people who they are today in one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you guys think of Dedra and Cyril in this story arc, in this chapter.
I thank goodness Dedra is Dedra. We learned that she is playing Cyril for everything there is. And I think there's a scene where Major Pendergrass says, you are walking a fine line, or a narrow path, and you are doing a great job of not really letting them know what we're really doing.
Yeah.
I thought it was great that she obviously runs the relationship. Obviously, we saw that in the first 3 episodes where she told the mom, I will make sure he'll do this, 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 and this. Now shut up, grow up, and this is the way it's going to be. She runs the relationship. And I thought it was kind of funny when he's like, an hour? That's it? That's all I can stay here? Is an hour? Like, yeah. But you really think you think someone's following me? Well, not really. An hour? And then shut out the lights. I thought that was kind of funny. That was really good. But I am relieved that Dedra is smarter than Cyril in every which way. I did appreciate that. And I think she does like him. I think she genuinely does, because he did save her life, right? I guess at that moment. But she runs the show, and I think it's great. I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I appreciate seeing Dedra from season 1 back, because she was not there in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I completely agree. She's one of my favorite characters in the series right now. I'm curious to know because we know a lot of people are gonna die. They just have to. Do you guys think Daedra's gonna survive, or do you think she's gonna get killed somehow?
And hold that question. I want to give a quick shout out, Bobby Nash. Thank you for the like, Bobby. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Michael, Karen. Any of you want to take a stab at? I mean, a whack at that one. Michael.
Well,
Do you think Daedra's gonna survive the series?
thank you. Because I was going, what are we talking about? I just totally lost that with Bobby thing. It's just one of those days, Roger. I think not. I think if she had or something happened to her, because I don't think she's in any of the others. I don't think she's in Rogue One, the character, even if it's a different actress. I don't remember seeing her there. So I'm saying she probably is going to die, or she's going to go off and do something else. She's going to go off where the people from oh golly, Rebels went. So whatever, went off to that other part of the galaxy or whatever it was. So I don't know. But
Karen.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. She could just be assigned someplace else, a victim of the bureaucracy, sent off somewhere. This was really interesting to me because I've struggled with them as a couple, and so it was. And I have thought that maybe the thing that united them as a couple was their naked ambition that they each have. Dedra's ambition is combined with competence, at least, where Cyril is just ambitious but not really with any talent. So seeing that she's using him in at least some way made a lot more sense, made them make more sense to me. I wonder, I feel like Cyril's going to find out and turn. I'm not saying he'll join the rebellion, but I think he could turn against Dedra if he finds out that she's been, because he said when he said there's a point where Dedra reveals the next part of the plan, and there's the point where the guy who's Dedra's boss says,
Pendergrass.
"Great work, Cyril."
Yeah.
Pendergrass, his great work, Cyril. And when he leaves, Cyril says, "If I told you this is the greatest day of my life, would that ruin everything?" I mean, he also has something. His ambition he places higher than his relationship with her, I think. And I think if he is thwarted or finds out he's being used or he's a pawn and is not, I wonder if he could turn against Dedra and maybe not turn and betray her to the rebels, but at least betray her in sort of an office politics backstabby kind of way that gets her or both of them killed.
Okay, I have to say that I would say she either gets reassigned due to an abject failure in everything, or Cyril actually does her in, either by plan or he actually, you used me, you betrayed me, you are just like my mother. And maybe he, does something like that. I don't know. That's the way I would see it. I think she's going to survive, but if someone's going to have a hand in it, it would be Cyril.
Maybe he'll lock her up with his mother.
Oh, if wishes were horses, Michael.
He seems to have a real talent for failing up, Cyril, right? He's failed multiple times and he keeps getting promoted.
That's the real workforce. I mean, Karen, how many times do we see that in the workforce, right? You fail, you get promoted, right? But anyway.
Here's something just throwing out to everybody. How close do you think he was to running across Andor?
Well, they implied they were there the same day.
Yeah. And I just went, as I was honestly expecting them to cross paths, and they didn't. And I just thought that was very interesting.
Now, I did lose track of time at the very end of the last episode because I don't know how many days Val was there. I think Val and Cinta were there 2 days. or maybe 3 at most. Andor was there for 2 days, and that was the vast majority of episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, it was 3 days. So maybe it was a total of 6 days. I don't know. But I did get the impression that they should have crossed. So,
But they didn't, at least not that we saw. So
no, of course we didn't see them.
Mhm.
I did lose track in episode 3 because there were some innuendos on the movement of time. Now, there was a lot of scene cutting in all 3 episodes. As I write my notes, I mark a line whenever there's a different location or something. And on episode 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 scenes on 14 different locations. I mean, it's like it was crazy. There was a lot of movement.
are you talking about
scene-wise.
episode 1 or episode 4?
Sorry, episode 4. That's
Okay.
what I meant. And then I actually stopped doing that somewhere in between episode 5, because in my notes you can see all my underlines are different scenes, and then on page 2, they're gone. It's just there was so much intercutting in my notes, and I don't know. The story was moving quicker as opposed to episodes 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It was a bit jarring at times. You're like, okay, wait, where am I? So that was a negative for me. It was a bit jarring from time to time, and I'm usually pretty good at being able to stay in. I don't know if you guys had that difficulty.
I mean, I think it kind of depends on how you watch all of the episodes, to be honest. Like, I don't know if you guys are watching. Are you guys watching them in like one sitting?
I try, but it doesn't always work.
'Cause I feel like that really changes how you receive the show. You know, like if you kind of like I've been watching them all in one big like 3.5 hour sit down, and so it kind of feels like I'm able to keep track of things a little bit better, but the lines between when one episode ends and another begins gets
Yeah.
a little bit more blurry, versus like sitting down and watching one like every other day throughout the week or something like that. That probably changes how you view the show, to be honest.
I did the same. I sat down and watched them in one chunk, and it might make it easier to watch it as like one giant episode, right? I do think, I don't know if you'll agree, Tyler, I do think, I don't know how this will play if you sat down and binge the whole series like a year from now. I feel like having that week in between chapter 1 and chapter 2 cut down on the whiplash. Like, as I watched this in 4 and I'm like, wait, so what happened to Mom's cousin that Luthen was having murdered at the end of the wedding? And there seems to be no
Nothing.
right? There's no fallout from that. There's like the wedding was such an emotional thing, and it's a year has gone by. And I think having that week in between watching it is giving me that distance to be like, oh yeah, a year has gone by. I think if you watch those back to back, you'd be like, wait, what? What's total whiplash, right?
Yeah.
I agree, Karen. This is in 2025. I took the advice of 2 actors that were on the Ark, and they told me, no, don't take notes while you're watching. Watch it first, and then take notes. And that's why I've been doing it now. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 2, I think I did binge most of it, and then I was able to watch, I guess, the last part of it, and then for episodes 4, 5, and 6, I saw them on an episodic basis. I took a break in between, and then I got serious again today. I said, "Oh man, I haven't taken my notes yet," so I had to watch them again. I started watching about 3 o'clock this afternoon to take my notes, and I finished up at 6:30. So took a while for some reason. Don't know why, but it was good nevertheless. There were a few other things I wanted to point out. Let me see. Okay, I already mentioned the speech of what's his face? Oh, Wilman. Oh my God. Him inhaling the Rilo.
Yeah.
Oh, what a change. Well, okay. There's never been a question as to whether he is a fighter or not. He's the one. Okay. Andor's mom, you could say, led the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. By her speech. But the one that actually exploded it was Willem or Woman. Because he's the one that threw his homemade grenade and set everything off. So it's interesting that not many people know what he did. I mean, Andor, Bix, and those around know what he did, but he's still not a full leader, but he's committed to the cause. And then now he, sold him, and he inhaled it. Wow. That was crazy. I missed that on my first watching. I thought Saul pulled the mask off for some reason. Yeah, like I said, I missed it the first time around. So that was pretty good.
I was afraid that was going to happen, right? I kind of was like waiting to see if Saul would rip it off while I was watching it.
Yeah,
but he didn't.
Now, when I looked away, I looked back and I'm like, whoa. And I didn't go back because I was caught up in the scene and seeing what he was going through. I was like, oh man, he ripped it off. Wow. And then on my second viewing, I was like, oh, he took it off himself. Wow.
That makes it a whole different thing.
Now, I have reservations on Krennic being in this series, but the play between him and Mon, that was cool. I loved her. She attacked first. Hey, it's good seeing you in person and not on the witness stand. Oh, that was an innuendo to something that had happened. That was good, and I appreciated that it was not explained. I just loved it how she said, oh, first time I see you not being on the witness stand. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, she played her part.
Oh, God, yes.
Going back a little bit to Saul Guerrero in that particular scene, did you guys feel they're kind of pitching him as like a Charles Manson, maybe not Charles Manson, almost more like an Andrew Tate kind of guy, where he's kind of this very charismatic guy, and I think that's why it was so important that the other guy ripped his own mask off. He's like, you're coming on this crazy train with me voluntarily, but there's something kind of magnetic about Saul Guerrero.
I was thinking that when Roger was describing that scene, he's like a cult leader, right?
Yeah.
And definitely charismatic. He's got all the charisma that, I'm sorry, Diego Luna, but Cassian Andor to me is not a charismatic character, right? And maybe he's not supposed to be because it takes charisma to be a leader, and Cass is a soldier. He's not a leader, right?
Yeah.
But Saw, I felt like he had just indoctrinated Will into that cult at that moment. And that was like his baptism, like breathing in the energy gas, whatever that stuff is.
Tyler, good point. I did take it that I wasn't that smart, Tyler. Well done. I didn't take it that far, brother, but I appreciate that, and I agree with you. Yes.
Did he say when he was talking about when it happened to him before, when he was doing all the work, in the mines, that when the gas came the first time, people that ran away didn't survive? Did I hear that right?
I thought that's what he said.
Yeah, and I just thought, well, that's very interesting. He stayed and inhaled the gas fully, and he survived. Crazy, but he survived.
And didn't he also say that you felt it first?
Yes.
And it was interesting when Willman set it up, and he was getting close to it, and he was like trying to smell it. He was addicted to it. And he referred to it. Oh my God, what did he call it? I always loved you. My sister, she always loves me. Oh my God, he gave it, as
An
it was,
identity. An
yes.
identity. Mhm.
I appreciated that so this bit of background on Saw kind of improves Rogue One for me, because one of my least favorite aspects of his character is that he's always breathing that gas through. I just hate characters who breathe gas. It's just so overused. I'm thinking of like Madison and Fear the Walking Dead and all these like ridiculous characters in TV and movie history, and Saw breathing through that thing. I was always like, oh my God, what a stupid affectation. Why are they doing that to this character? And now I see they just gave me the background that the next time I watch Rogue One, I can maybe appreciate Saw much better and understand why he breathes this stuff and what it means.
That's interesting, guys, because when I saw Rogue One, since I'd seen him in the Clone Wars, I just thought he was an older man and he couldn't breathe anymore. I had missed the whole thing of the poisoning. I just thought it was a breathing apparatus. And it wasn't like, okay, we have another Darth Vader or anything like that. It's just, I thought that was a quirk that he had. I didn't know the entire history, which
Now we do.
which is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So that is a big, significant payoff.
Yeah. They touched addiction references a lot in these 3 episodes, which is kind of cool. Like with Saul and man, I'm so bad with character names. Andor's girlfriend.
Bix.
Bix, thank you. It's like, it's kind of cool, another just little adult topic that they're showing, and I think that's cool. Especially as, a recovering addict, I'd like recovery drug things.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to tell you, Karen, you made it very clear to me about the whole thing about Vix, and you do, Tyler, as well, that she may never recover. And I felt cheated when Bix came out of nowhere to run that op to kill the doctor. It's like she could barely stay awake, and then all of a sudden Andor and her are running this operation. Don't get me wrong, they're a team, they're good together. And I did look at episode 3. I don't know who it was that said it on our panel, that I'm tired of Bix being saved by Andor. And I looked at it and I said, yeah, okay, at the end, episode 12, I get it, season 1. But in season 2, episode 3, she beat her attacker back. And Andor did show up, didn't exactly save her though, but got her off the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who
got her out of there.
Yeah, got her out of there. And hey, that's like when you go in with the dip, you break the tortilla. What do? You go back with another tortilla to pull. It's a rescue operation. It's not saving her per se, as a male or female. It's just, I thought she did him in.
When I first was watching it, I thought the same thing. Not the same thing, but I thought she wasn't well enough to do this. That's what my first thought. Mm-hmm. And then when she walked out, I go, oh my goodness. But then she met up with Andor. And then I go, okay, now it makes a little more sense. Maybe, she told him she wanted to do it and he helped her plan. And I said, so maybe that, but when I saw her by herself, and I just went, this does not make sense to me. She was in no shape to do something like that.
So let me ask you a question. Throughout episodes 4 and 5, she insists she's capable of more. She's like, Cass, stop babying me. I know I have problems, but I'm capable of more. And she says to Luthen, I can do more than he thinks I can. Stop sidelining me. Stop shutting me out.
True.
I mean,
true.
those
I forgot about that.
Those could be the words of it could be, an addict insisting, I'm okay. Don't, or could it be that she needed something to do, or like needed them to stop pity? I mean, so she's with Cass, but Luthen gave him this job, right? Like the red-haired guy from the inside told Luthen, and Luthen has to have told Cass and Bix about this new lab. And maybe he said, okay, I got a job that's maybe the perfect job for Bix. Like what would Bix say if they let anybody else but her be in on this mission?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so putting out.
It could be several things. I mean, you might never know.
what do you guys think about her protests early on that she was stronger than they think?
Like I said, it was jarring for me the first time around seeing this because they were really bringing her down. Do you know, I was angry in a sense that you have two strong women, and what I mean by the two strong women is on Star Trek Enterprise, you had the Vulcan character. What did they make her? Into a drug addict. And they basically, I'm not sure if they've done that with her because it's her nightmares. She can't sleep. And I loved what Luthen said. Hey, when he smells it, he recognizes it. He knows exactly what it is. He says, when you stop taking this, they come back and they're worse. So I know that they're touching on it, but I see it as real. Don't get me wrong. I'll never be able to say that I'm in the situation that she has been in, but I've had those nightmares that go on for months and then they eventually go away. Do they forever go away? No, they don't. But they eventually do. In her case, it was different because it was a personal attack. Yeah. Twice, the Imperial officer and that doctor, because that thing messes you up completely, right?
And to me, that's what I think they're, at least with this character, I can't speak much to Star Trek, but at least with this character, I think they're displaying a different kind of strength, you know?
Yes.
There's the let's call him like a knight, I guess, you know, like Andor. He's out doing a very specific role that's very physical and focused in that way. Bix is a little bit more behind the scenes, but her job requires way more mental fortitude than the guy that's just out there kind of, you know, shooting people willy-nilly. And I think that's a really powerful message for people to receive as they're watching the show, is that strength comes in many forms. You know, I'm not exactly the most physically strong guy in the world. I could barely pick up my cell phone half the time, but you know, there's other ways that I can be strong, and I think that's something that when I see Bix, I'm like, oh gosh, she is one of the strongest characters in the show, and she doesn't need to be the one out there necessarily pulling the trigger in every episode because she's fighting a battle that's beyond almost the Empire. You know, it's the battle of self.
Michael, did you want anything?
No, I just agree with what Tyler said. I mean, I did not think of it that way, but boy, that is Karen, so true.
Did we answer your question maybe, or did we kind of like go around it?
Yeah. No, that's I mean, I love that. That's great. And this is a character that last week I complained that she was only there for Cass to rescue her. And then this week, maybe she's like, I don't want to say she's rescuing herself because that's really trite, but she is, you know, insisting that she is capable and like, don't think of her as only her trauma. Think of her as something more.
Yeah, she makes that clear, Luthen. She says, I know why you were here. You were going to have me go on an op, and you already made the decision. No. So she was still there. Even I didn't catch that. And she was like, dude, don't count me out. Don't. So, yeah, everything you guys just said, it's reinforced for me now, looking back and seeing that. Yeah. That strength. Well, that's what a team is, right? You know, everyone has their own strength. I mean, we saw it in, oh my God, what was the TV show, Michael? What was Bad Batch? They all had their different strengths. Yes. Well, let me see. I thought the last episode did run well. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of quick breaks. It did work there for me. I was able to follow along. It was good. And seeing the fear and frustration that Luthen and Clea have, that was real too. I mean, they had Luthen is angry at her. He says, you convinced me. What do you mean I convinced? We both chose to do this. They're starting the blame game now. And that's when you're under serious pressure. And we haven't seen Luthen do that. And now he's blaming his partner. And she's like, no. We both decided to do this. And besides, it was your idea. I affected it. And that's where he used that line of, we're drowning. We need more. And
I loved
Yeah.
how that. I loved how that reflected the earlier the meeting of the Empire board of directors, whoever those guys are having their meeting, and God, I'm bad with names also, Tyler. The red-haired guy who is Luthen's spy, he says, we're arresting too many people. Like, and all the other guys are like, thank you for saying that. We've got too much. We've arrested so many people. We can't even like process all this and figure out the intel. And later we see Luthen saying, like, we got too much going on. I can't process it. I can't deal with it. Like, I love that sort of callback to like having the same problem almost.
Yeah, and they all seem to be
Lonnie.
scared to say anything to their leader that it was too much. It was like they were afraid.
Yeah, Lonnie has two significant moments in episode 4 where he says exactly what Karen says, and it's Lonnie. That's the name. And then he has it at the very end where he says, it's a book, right? Or what does he say about that thing? And that was very well done. He has two major moments where he's actually covering for the rebellion, basically. That was kind of cool. I think Lonnie will not make it, though. Yeah, he.
Should we just try to say who we think is going to make it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I just don't think Lonnie's going to be able to make it. I just don't see him as seeing it through.
I mean, so there's only a handful of people that we know make it, right? There's
Right.
a handful that show up in Rogue One and Mon Mothma, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what are there, like 3 to 5 characters maybe that we know make it out, but
That's not many.
no.
You
I have a question.
Go
Can I
ahead.
ask a question? You guys are all big Star Wars fans. I was going to call you nerds. I'm sorry. There is a discussion of when Grand Moff Tarkin landed his ship right on top of a bunch of people. The memorial on Gorman. It turns out he like landed on top of people who were protesting. Is that new, or did you guys know that from Star Wars lore?
For me, that was new.
That was new to me, but
I think that's new.
Yeah, because I didn't know of Gorman existing prior to the series.
yeah, I was going to say, did they ever mention Gorman?
Tyler
Where they
would
get
know
the
more
fine-
than
I know.
more than
Kyler's
us.
better than we are. So
Not that if they did, it would have been in a comic book somewhere,
Yeah,
probably. Not that I can.
we'll have to ask Luca when he gets back.
There's no way Luca knows more than me, and I will go to my grave.
That's why I said Tyler. He'll be able to tell us. Look, I know quite a bit, and I fully admit that this guy knows 75% more than I know. And then Tyler will say at his young age, I have forgotten more than you will ever know.
We have.
remember
I
my father
probably
told me that.
have.
Yeah, that's funny. And I'm telling my daughters that now. I'm like, oh, when I tell them about history, I said, man, I have forgotten more than you'll ever know.
Well, and the trickiest part about Star Wars now is that everything that I once knew is no longer
Right.
canon. So I can tell you more about the legend stuff, but then you get to the what is the new Disney canon, and all of that's
Changed.
or is subject to change. So like I could give you an answer for something, but literally tomorrow the answer could change. And so it does make it tricky to know. It's like if someone convinced you that 2 + 2 actually equaled 5, and this whole time you were just wrong. Doesn't.
Yeah. The internet blew up and this is what I thought Karen was going to in episode 6, where Mon Mothma, I didn't hear that. You said Tarkin, but it was when Mon Mothma landed with Perrin and Senator Bail Organa came up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did
That
you
was
hear about
so
that,
cool.
Tyler?
Yes, and I was frustrated that they changed the actor, but
It's Benjamin Bratt, right?
Okay, it is Benjamin Bratt. I mean, of all the people they got to replace him,
I know.
Wow.
They got poor man's Jimmy Smits.
they actually did, who is actually not a bad actor in and of himself, but apparently the Star Wars world lost its mind because Disney changed Senator Organa. And I guess we found out that it's scheduling conflict. That's what it was. It's not that he didn't want to do it. It was a scheduling conflict.
You know what? It's better than trying to CGI and AI some shit onto my screen, right? Like, and de-age somebody, and
That's good.
right? I'd rather see
You were
that.
excited to see certain people that had already died years before in Rogue One.
I mean, I guess maybe in Rogue One, it seemed kind of interesting because it was new, and now it's like on my screen all the time.
All the
and
time, yeah.
Terrible. And I think, like, should we lose our minds, or should we just, like, I get there's some really strong feelings among all kinds of fandoms, but I appreciate, at least in our little square right here, the four of us, that we're just like grown-ups, and the guy had a scheduling conflict, and it's a one
Get over it.
thing. It's a one sentence thing. So
Yeah.
it was kind of fun to see the character, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important that we do. Like they've really got to tie a lot of stuff together
Yes.
in these last 6 episodes, right? These last 6.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with the rumors surrounding the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, as well as the stuff with Ahsoka season 2, like, if Disney doesn't tie some of these characters together in these last 6 episodes, it feels like a waste of an opportunity. You know, like, I would love to see Ahsoka, because right now we have Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's still out there and active. You know, we have Ahsoka, we have Kanan, we have Ezra, we have you know, everyone that was in the Star Wars Rebels animated TV show. Now would be a really great time to show us them, because they're out there as another cell of the rebellion doing their own thing, kind of like Saul Guerrero is doing his own thing.
And this is the same time frame. So
All the same time frame. Actually, it should all be going on, because the Star Wars Rebels TV show takes place at 5 BBY.
Yeah.
That's part of my frustration, is that they in the show, they're getting instruction from somebody, you know, and you find out later it's Mon Mothma. So
yeah, and this show is really positioning Mon as sort of still, even now we're 2 years. She's still sort of very split. I mean, she's politically committed to wanting to see change in the Empire, but she's nowhere near the person she's going to be, right? And I see her as really subordinate to Luthen in this show that we're watching. And now you're telling me she's totally running this other show, like, that's happening in another part of the galaxy with these other people. That seems to not track. But so, Tyler, let me ask you though, a lot of when people praise this show, one of the things I think a lot of critics like is that this is a non-Force show, right? This is like fully non-Force, no midichlorians, no whatever going on.
There are no Jedi, no lightsabers.
Yeah.
Jedi, no lightsabers, right? And I mean, yes, you could run across those guys and not have a demonstration of Force, probably, right? But if you like to see some of these characters pass through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you saying you'd like? So I guess where I'm going is, are you saying you'd like to see that Force element brought in, or just to see what those guys are doing and have a check-in and draw it all together?
Sure.
Like they're at a meeting together or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a little column A, little column B, because I think a big part of Star Wars is the Force and the lightsabers, like that kind of is the defining feature of Star Wars. Now, it doesn't mean that's all that exists in the Star Wars universe, but it is kind of the thing that makes it what it is. You take away Jedi's lightsabers and the Force, and you just have like a political space drama, right? Which is kind of what we're getting with Andor, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I think, given that we know there are plans from Disney to continue to expand this universe, we have important characters that have their own shows coming out relatively soon, and there's a younger version of them out there doing stuff. It would feel appropriate to me to tie all of it together. Now, I don't think it would make sense to have, Ahsoka and Kanan and Ezra and all these Jedi just come in and like save the day. But I would like to see, Mon Mothma giving like a hologram phone call to somebody and saying like, "Hey, I need you to go do this mission." Tie it together, or to see some of these characters in passing, like we did we saw Zeb Orrelios in one of the other shows. Was it Mandalorian season 3? we saw him. He's
I
a big,
think so.
yeah. Like he wasn't really a main character, but
But he was just there for a few minutes.
right?
Yeah.
We know he didn't die, which is kind of cool. We never really got a resolution to his character, and he was instrumentally important to the rebellion. And so I'd like to see some stuff like that kind of sprinkled out throughout these last 6 episodes to pull everything together, and then that sets us up for a really successful Ahsoka season 2, just adding some more backstory to these characters that we haven't really gotten yet. Or for people that didn't watch Rebels, I guess, because if you've watched Rebels, then you have a ton of backstory.
Yeah. And I've run across people that had not seen Rebels, and they had no idea what some of the stuff was in Ahsoka, some of those characters.
Oh yeah,
and some other things, and they were just going, "Who are these people?" And I went, "Oh, you haven't seen Rebels, have you? What's that?"
Yeah, I need.
Or if you haven't seen you have to see Clone Wars
or Clone Wars, yeah,
to understand Ahsoka properly. You have to see both things. That's 12 seasons of TV that you have to watch to understand one season of a live action. Crazy.
Yeah.
So
I needed a big Thrawn backstory. I had to have someone explain to me who Thrawn is when I was.
And there's books and books and books on Thrawn going back from before Order 66 in the Fall of the Republic when he was hanging out with Anakin, and then his interaction over the next 30, 40 years into him getting shot off into space with some space whales. Like there's so much there. You got it. I think Disney needs to give the less nerdy fans some of that backstory to really flesh out the upcoming story properly.
I wonder how much they're going to do, Tyler, because in Rogue One itself, we do see General Syndulla. Well, we don't see, but we hear General Syndulla on the PA, and we see the shadow at Scarif. And I sadly missed that the first time around. And when it was pointed out to me, I'm like, oh my God, that was the shadow. And it was great. And we don't know. Well, I guess we do know that it does survive the Battle of Scarif. Yeah, it actually does. Yeah, because Syndulla is in Ahsoka. So, yeah. But I thought that was really good. Tyler, you brought the phrase to me. Subvert expectations. I had no expectations coming into Andor. And I was like, hey, we're actually going to see how Andor becomes who he is. Like, okay,
yeah,
I'm in. I had no idea that they were going to work all these other characters like Saul Guerrera and Mon Mothma and now Luthen and Deidre. I mean, what a tapestry they've painted with these characters. And I think we've all complained of the fact that some characters get short shrift in an episode. And I wonder if that's the problem that Disney did for themselves. They put so many characters in this to make this universe so good that we're going to feel cheated from time to time. Look, none of us were really happy with episode 1, 2, and 3 of season 2, right? And even 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry.
I think they pitched us the wrong story. And like, I think I might have said this last week. Like, I was led to believe this was a story about how Cassian Andor becomes the guy. He goes from apathetic to giving his life in Rogue One. And what I'm really watching, or what, maybe there are two stories going on here. The story of how the rebellion became the rebellion. How we talked about this last week, how Luke Skywalker joins like a fully mature rebellion when he gets these droids. And this is like, the part that interests me is not so much how Cassian became Andor, but how the rebellion became the rebellion, right? Yeah. Or how like that part is the more compelling story. Because let's face it, nobody really watched Rogue One and was like, oh, I really want to know more about this Andor guy, right? No. Like, no one ended the movie and thought that. I mean, his story was complete across that 2 hours.
As a matter of fact, he gives his speech to her. Everything I did was for the rebellion. I mean, we got Andor in 2 minutes. His entire backstory.
Nothing he did in season 1 was for the rebellion. Everything he did in season 1 was kind of for himself. And then at the end, he goes to Luthen and is like, season 1 was much more about him having a change of mind. Maybe not everything he did in season 1 was for himself, but most of season 1 was Cassian just trying to survive. And it's those experiences that make him finally become rebellious, right? But everything I did was for rebellion So all I've seen him really do for the rebellion is steal that ship in episode 1 of this season, right? And like dress up as a designer this week. Like that story is not the story.
Yeah.
What if they hadn't called it Andor? What should they have called the series?
Well, Star Wars Rebels was already taken, so.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Rogue -1. Rogue 0.5.
There you go.
I loved whoever called Rogue One episode 3.9. I mean, whoever named that was like right away. I even told that one to Michael. I said, Michael, did you hear? They called it 3.9. That was so awesome. I thought that was great.
Almost 3.99, really.
Well, yeah. But that was so cool. Whoever came up with that one, 3.9, because it fit. I don't know if you guys want to take a moment going back. I think I've spoken to Tyler off air, and I've definitely spoken to Michael off air. Karen, you haven't been on this when we've talked about Rogue One. You've talked about it briefly, and you've implied Rogue One for me was. I walked out of the theater and I said, "Oh man, if this is the direction Disney's going in, I'm in."
I thought Rogue One was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I actually had an argument in the bar last week with this guy who tried to tell me that Solo is better than Rogue One, which it is not. He's just wrong.
I enjoyed Solo, but no.
It's not better than Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was a good movie, and I think it stands alone. Like, if it's the only Star Wars movie a person ever watched, like, they could fully enjoy that. But then it also, like, if you have watched all of Star Wars, it fits in really well right before A New Hope. I thought I liked it. I like Jyn Erso. She was a good character. Star Wars, the only female-led, there's Rey, and then there's Jyn, who really is the lead of that movie. It's almost, it's unfortunate that it's Cass who got the spinoff, except she's not that interesting. He's more like, if you're going to give one of them the show, it's him. Her whole backstory is fully told in that movie.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good. I like that movie a lot. I think it's good. And it's one that sometimes it comes on and I just, so I work home alone in my living room and I let the TV run all day. So there's people talking, and Rogue One is a movie that I sometimes work while it's on because it's sort of there in the background. And I can, like, every 5 minutes not every 5 minutes, how my boss is not watching, every hour be like, this is a good part, and watch for a minute,
Yes. Yes. Michael, Tyler, I guess publicly.
Yeah, publicly, I said I really enjoyed it. And I was blown away when it hit me at the end of Rogue One that was just a few minutes before episode 4. It just like went right up to that. And I was just like, I didn't see this coming.
And I do want to add that when I did see the movie, we had received the report that Carrie Fisher had been hospitalized. And then I'm watching the movie, and then who shows up at the very end, seeing the young Princess Leia. That had struck an emotional chord because I believe the next day she did pass away. And I was so shattered by that. But that, oh man, that one struck a massive chord. Sorry, Tyler. I'm taking your language away from you. The musical chord. Sorry. It did affect me a great deal. I love that movie. Michael knows I still get emotional when the Rebel fleet shows up. Oh my God. I'm not going to say I will come to tears, but I turned to my daughter in the theater and I said, someone's about to get whooped. It was so well done. So well done. Tyler, you haven't said anything yet.
No, I echo everything that you guys all just said, to be honest. This is Rogue One is a great film. It's better than Solo. I still really like Solo. There's few Star Wars things that I don't like, but I'm still mad we didn't get a Solo 2, to be honest. I'll be in that camp. There's things they could have done better with that, but they set up a cool thing because I really like Darth Maul, and we got that at the end, and that was pretty badass. So, yeah, Rogue One's great so far. Andor season 2 is great. I'm loving it.
I think that's why we're watching Andor, because of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No doubt about it.
That's the only reason anybody's watching it.
Yeah.
Now, do you think if they did a solo TV show, would we all watch that? Or do you think they'd mess it up like they did the movie?
I mean, here's the thing. They messed up Boba Fett. They messed up Ben Kenobi, right? They have messed up they messed up baby Princess Leia is one of the worst characters I've seen in a long time.
I agree.
Nothing against that little actress, but they have not done a great job with legacy characters in the TV universe, in my opinion. I'm not as big a Star Wars fan, and maybe the community loves those shows, but I don't think so, right?
Few people do. But
Like, I think we like the shows, but there's things where there's definitely some frustration because I don't know. For me, like all I ever wanted Disney to do was recreate the books that I had already read. That was what I wanted. I wanted a Lord of the Rings situation where you weren't 100% accurate. You know, there's things you had to cut out, but you didn't change really all that much. That's what I was hoping they would do with Star Wars, and that's not what we got. But there's bits and pieces that I like about what we got. There's bits and pieces that I don't like. Overall, I'm along for the ride to see where it all ends up. You know, when I'm 500 years old, like Michael, will I be able to tell my great grandchildren about this amazing journey I went on?
It's interesting that Disney has acquired like the property of like the two of the most rabid fandoms, Star Wars and Doctor Who, right? They've gone into these like two huge franchises with very vocal fandoms who don't like. Now they haven't messed with Who that much, although if you guys watch Doctor Who, Disney's doing this thing where, this is the 15th Doctor, and they're calling it season 2. Disney insists that this is season 2 of Doctor Who. And most of the fandom is calling this season 15, I think.
And it's even more than that if you really go. Because they had all the since
but they're
60,
taking on
since 60 whatever.
I mean, God love the fortitude of the people at Disney for taking on these two particular pieces of intellectual property. And I'm going to go off camera while I kill a bug.
Okay, sounds like good.
All right.
It's not a lightsaber coming in there.
You're going off camera to kill a bug, and yet we got the assault in episode 3 that we did. Okay, wow.
It's throwing at the wall.
I'm sorry, Tyler. I know that was bad. I'm not wanting to be disrespectful to everything because you guys explained it very well last week. I just think it's amusing that it's like, why did they do that? But you're going off screen to kill a bug. But anyway, no, hey, it's all good. Do you guys have any other thoughts? Anything else you guys want to share about this? Because I can tell our attitudes were a lot better for these three than the first ones. I mean, Tyler, this is the first time I ever met you, and you were just like this. Nope. We're done. Thank you. And I was like, holy crap. You were not happy with episodes 1, 2, and 3.
No, I think there was room to do things differently. And again, like I even said today, like Disney is choosing in this particular show to discuss more adult themes in a very raw way, which is not traditional Star Wars. And I am a big George Lucas Star Wars fan.
Yes.
So like,
hey, is there Star Wars fanfic? Like there is like Harry Potter sexual fanfic.
Yes.
Is there Star Wars sex
sure.
fanfic?
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, I have no idea.
Even though he's the founding member.
That was good, Tyler. It took me a second. Very good. Yes, there is.
But yeah, I mean, there totally is. Anyway,
adult Star Trek, adult Star Wars.
Yes. I think that because I am such a big fan of the George Lucas style Star Wars. Like, I mean, that was it is my favorite series of movies and films, from everything, the way that it was shot to the way it discusses things. I mean, there's some corny stuff in there with Star Wars, but like it's with any show or movie, there's always going to be something cheesy because not every writer has the perfect words to say every single sentence. It just doesn't happen. And I think there's just kind of some growing pains with me and seeing what Disney is trying to do with some of their newer Star Wars projects.
So we'll
That's
see
fair.
what happens. I've been around for 500, so you know.
If you guys don't see me again, Michael did it.
Well, I wonder who
Things have already started churning for the
No, that's funny.
repercussions.
He's already got somebody following you.
Oh,
I sent some drones from Liz's house over to his house.
that's the woman you have to fear, dude. She's former military, dude. She's
You just see Michael in the corner do it, you know.
Let me tell you, that used to be my role on NDB Media. I am nothing anymore. That's him. look at dude. He looks like the Emperor right there.
I mean, Michael, you're 500 years young, man. Roger, you're old.
What the hell? Where'd that come from?
He's trying to get the drones off his house. He sees them.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
That it's like being somewhere and you hear the gunfire off in the distance, and all of a sudden, ding! Like, whoa, what the hell happened? It's like, geez, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make noise over here. Oh no, it's good. Look, I'm glad that these episodes were better, and I really had issues with episodes 1, 2, and 3, but sometimes. Oh, go ahead.
Did you not think they were slow? I still am going to say that these were 3 slow episodes. And could I at least have a good, a better explode? We only got one very small explosion. And if I'm not going to get a lot of story, can more shit blow up?
Yeah. So you're saying that depending on how many ships blow up, that's how good you like the thing? Is that?
No, I just feel like we have, I think historically each chunk has had at least one good action sequence. I think we all agreed that last week, while those 3 episodes were not our favorite, we did have a great, Theft of Imperial cruiser or whatever that was in the beginning. And we didn't really have we didn't have a lot moving around. We didn't have a lot of storyline progress. It all felt like it moved slowly. And we didn't have a set piece either.
You had the gun blasts in this one.
Yeah, we had some great cityscapes. Like we had some great visuals that were non-space related, and I do appreciate that craft and how beautiful a lot of that was.
Yeah,
all right.
But you just want more. You want more action.
I thought it was pretty slow, especially 4 and 5. 6 seemed storyline wise to be a little tighter and move a little better for me.
Yeah,
there was maybe payoff for what I waited
suffered through.
Yeah.
Now, Karen, Tyler, I have a question for you because Michael did have a brief conversation with me. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but Michael did admit to me, he says, there might have been a little bit more to episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Now seeing 4, 5, and 6. Would you agree, or would you nah? Or say, well, yeah, you know what? Maybe the 500-year-old man did have something. Nah, I'm not going to let it go either.
Yeah, you better watch it. Remember what happens this next weekend. So
that's right, Friday. I might be stuck in Reagan National Friday. My flight's at 8:59 at Reagan National.
Oh my God! Good luck. I will never fly out of that airport. Good luck to you. You're better off driving.
No, I'm flying in at 8:59.
You should go to DWI and take a cab, my friend.
Well, what I was going to do
is just another crash waiting to happen.
Oh, gee. I hope to get to the subway and take the subway. So we'll see.
Roger, I think I didn't hate the previous 3, 1, 2, and 3 as much as, or I didn't dislike them as much as you guys did. I think I liked those three a little bit more, but I had just rewatched the entirety of season 1 in the several days leading up to watching them.
Me too.
So that might, okay. So I was gonna say that might have affected me, but no, because you still didn't really like those three.
I was disappointed by them. I don't want to say I hate something or I like something very much. I just, everyone says, oh, I hate it or it sucks. Like, that's kind of the lamest thing anyone can say. It's the franca lingua on the internet when it comes to, that sucked. I don't believe in that. I didn't hate the episodes. I was disappointed, I would like to say. I'm not saying you're wrong, Karen. I just want to clarify that. No, seriously, I'm not trying to cut into what you're saying. I'm trying to clarify my thing is, it just wasn't there for me.
And yet you're saying now, maybe is there more?
Well,
to
he did.
I did not him.
Oh.
No, it's after I thought about it more, and after seeing 4, 5, and 6,
What, Michael? I'm sorry.
488.
Oh, 488. Tyler? He's not 500. He's 488.
No, talking about you.
What?
Think about it.
488? That's how old I am?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to make a note of that.
I really started something, and I'm sorry, guys.
Can I just say that I'm younger than those guys, okay?
Yeah.
You're younger than I am, Karen. You've got to be what, 21, 22?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good job.
I just had I'm gonna have the anniversary of my 21st birthday very soon.
See?
There you go.
A few more years, you'll be able to rent a car legally. You got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
Totally.
I like that. All right, that's fair. All right. Anything else now that we've established all of our ages and knowing?
No, I'm wondering what can happen with 6 more episodes to go. It feels like kind of a lot. Like
I would think that they're going to get more organized in the rebellion. I mean, it has to. It has to get more organized.
Yeah.
That would lead into what Tyler was talking about 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
There would have to be some sort of connection there.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of fan service that's about to happen, like a lot, and a lot of death. So I think we're going to get some really big highs and some really low lows.
Yeah.
Because we're going to see these characters that we've now kind of emotionally connected with.
Cool.
I think we're going to see pretty much all of them die. Like every single one.
Well, yeah, pretty much. And I think we're going to see Mon become more organized in her thinking and more like she plays this role in the Senate, but you can see, did you see that scene where she was speaking and she was like gripping the sides of her little podium?
Yes. Yes.
During the Senate investiture. Yes.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see her. I know it's not till Return of the Jedi that we see her, that we first met her, right, as the head of the Rebel Alliance. Right?
Yeah, it was Return of the Jedi, yes.
But we I think we're going to see her become more of that I don't want that can't all happen off. You can't put her in this show and then have all the development happen off screen between now and Return of the Jedi. We're going to see her become that woman, I hope, in the next 6 episodes. Because she's just not there yet.
No, she is still trying to use a Senate. Didn't we see that in episode 4? Where she's talking about fighting this bill from the Emperor?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, wait a minute. You've been with me on this forever. What is the deal? And what did they tell her?
Something like they didn't want to get the Emperor mad or...
Right.
That's the bill that sent Cassian Andor to prison in season 1. I was kind of shocked to hear her name check that bill, that law, and be like, I'm like, really? You're still fighting that law? 3 years later? I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah. Someone told her you're mistaking political with criminality or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tell that to immigration attorneys right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, political and the criminal have throughout history, throughout our own history of not just America, but the planet Earth, political and criminal have always been sort of intermingled in or politics has always used criminal law to its advantage when it can.
Yes. And it was interesting how the senator of Gorman could not even support the bill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gorman. So it's not the time.
I can tell you that has always been that's the part of the show I love. Like I would watch a show that was just like the politics of this because I'm a nerd. And I would watch like just the political part of the Senate and the Empire and the rebels and all that part of it without the other drama that's surrounding it. I mean, that's what drew me to The Expanse. I love the political part of The Expanse so much also.
Yeah.
I still got to finish that series.
Yeah, I apologize. I was trying to find it. Oh, Mon Mothma, it's at the halfway through episode 4. Mon Mothma speaks to other senators. They're saying criminality and politics. Gorman refuses to support its own interests. Yeah, those were my notes right there. Yeah, it was crazy. And she was beside herself. She is fighting the good fight, and no one wants to stand with her. Because I think some of the other senators say, well, it's all in the name of security. And there's a very famous one that says, the more security you want, or do you want peace or do you want security? The more security, you'll have neither. Something like that. It's a historical declaration.
Mm-hmm.
Those that choose security will get neither. But anyway. All right, fair enough. Any last thoughts? Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
All right. I appreciate it. Guys, this was a great conversation. Thank you. There was a lot in this. I have to tell you, I'm not predicting anything. I am eyes wide open on this. I am looking forward to seeing where they're going to take us. I have hope because rebellions
A new
are
hope.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah, sorry. I do. All right.
All right.
Any announcements, Karen?
No. So our show, Phantom Access, is going to be on Tuesday night at 10 as usual. We will do a much. We'll briefly review Andor, but not in any detail like this. We cover Doctor Who. Jamie wants to cover Dead City, so I think we're gonna do that. And what else is on? Oh, so real estate. We got a bunch of stuff we're talking about, and of course, we have a show for The Last of Us on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Our show is called Look for the Light, and we'll do a breakdown for about an hour of The Last of Us.
Or if not 5.
Of what?
Not 5
What do you mean not 5?
hours.
Not 5 hours. I think we're booked for. We usually go like an hour and a half when we talk about The Last of Us. Not 5 hours. That's those deep dives. Those YouTube deep dives. I know people love them. I'm not. I don't have the stamina. I don't have the stamina to do a 5-hour show.
It's not for very many. I've done a few of those in my day. But, I won't.
No.
I wonder who could out-talk whom, Jamie or myself.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
That would be something, and it would be. But we'll see. But anyway, Tyler, any announcements? Anything you want to share with the audience?
No, not much has changed since last week. Go check out my website and come see me at a show sometime.
All right, there it is at the bottom. Michael.
Just check ndbmedia.net on the front page. You'll see we've got 4 more actors from Vertical Dramas coming on with us in the next 2 weeks. Might have a few more. I've got some emails back from some agents, so it might be more, but it's kind of cool.
All right, folks.
Great.
There it is. Appreciate it. ndbmedia.net. Check it out. There's a lot of stuff going on in the network. Thank you. Michael and I might be doing the program together next week on Sunday.
Maybe.
We'll see. All right,
All
folks.
depends.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye
All
bye.
right. We'll see you guys on the other side. I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me.